Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology, and these are my September horoscopes. So this is the horoscope for Aquarius. If you're new to my channel and you've never checked out my horoscope videos before, that's because they're brand new. Probably haven't seen them before because they haven't been there. I usually do written content all the way up until about the beginning of this year, 2018. I primarily did written content on the internet and have decided to expand into YouTube this year. Normally you'll see me in my office. I'm on vacation right now. But at any rate, I want to just point you to a few cool things before I dive into your horoscope for the month. So first of all, astrograph.com. Astrograph.com is the website where you can find my horoscopes each month. If you go up to the horoscopes tab on the website, click on horoscopes at astrograph.com, and then find the glyph for your sign. Like here's the glyph for Aquarius. Click on it, and then you'll be taken to a page where the written version of your horoscope can be found. You'll also see a little introduction from Henry Seltzer, who's the owner and founder of Astrograph. He's a super cool guy, someone I've taken a lot of inspiration from. I consider him sort of a mentor. And he's, well, I do consider him a mentor. And he also has a newsletter that he writes where you can get updates on the astrology every month that I think is pretty cool. It was one of my first big inspirations for doing horoscopes. So at any rate, you can check that out. You should also check out the Time Passages app that Astrograph is known for. This is a great way to learn how to cast horoscopes and create your own charts and stuff like that. The basic, standard, advanced, or complete gives you a range of things to choose from. There's a phone app. It's really user-friendly. It's one of two programs I generally use. So check that out, and especially if you want something to kind of take your studies further, great way to go. All right, so let's move into your horoscope for the month. What do you have going on this month? Well, I need to progress this because somehow it's stuck on Capricorn rising. There we go. So this month gets started basically, September 3rd being the first sort of big notable event of the month. And what's happening at that time is Mercury is getting together with Venus in a sextile from your 7th house of relationships and with Venus in your 9th house of spirituality, higher education, long journeys, etc. So first and foremost, Mercury-Venus contacts are great for communication and relationships, whether that means buying or selling something, or that means at work, or that means in your romantic relationships. It's just a productive transit that allows you to see eye to eye with people, get things done, find a balanced way of communicating individual needs, being willing and able to compromise or find good compromises or deals with one another. So it's a nice transit. With the focus on Mercury in the 7th and Venus in Libra in the 9th, the topic of beliefs, political, spiritual, philosophical, or study partners, or finding people that you can learn with, or finding friends within a learning or spiritual or religious environment, studying something new, finding teachers that you have a good connection with. These are the kinds of things that might be more specifically indicated. So that's the first transit of the month, and it comes through again on September 3rd. It'll be building right away as the month gets started. From here, you can go forward to September 8th. Here we go. And on September 8th, you're going to have Venus, same thing, in the 9th house of higher education, religion, etc., making a square to Mars in the 12th house. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Venus-Mars contacts, first and foremost, tend to carry sort of sexual or creative tension with them. So quintessential masculine and feminine planets. Making a tense square can mean chemistry. Chemistry is in the air, or tension within relationships is in the air, maybe due to the yin and the yang, the passive and the assertive qualities sort of at odds with one another. Venus is in the stronger position. She's in what we call a superior square, which means she's sort of asserting dominance in the situation. The need for diplomacy, for tact, for balance and fairness, for grace, harmony is going to be asserting itself pretty strongly right now, and that's kind of ironic, but Venus is sort of asserting herself in the moment. She's doing so with Mars in the 12th house. Mars in the 12th house is very hardworking, but potentially sort of austere, maybe even a little self-destructive. It's an exalted Mars, but in the 12th, it's sort of like that person who will just keep working until they drop. It may not be so healthy to be as productive as Mars is within the 12th house in particular. So this might have something to do with the way that religion or spirituality or people or friends in your life are encouraging you on some level to perhaps take it easy right now, or to bring the intensity level down a little bit. So you want to watch for that. On the other hand, the 12th house is about our secrets and our shadows. And with Venus in the 9th house of beliefs and spirituality, a harmonizer, a diplomat, she's about beauty and grace and working things together for the good, you could say. There could be some sense of finding religious or spiritual values, or a religious or spiritual path, or a philosophy or an ethic that can help you to overcome something right now that is antagonizing you on an inner level. So be open to the guidance that the divine might kind of place in your path right now. The other thing that I would say about this transit is that you want to be careful about self-destructive decisions, basically, or anything that's sort of opportunistic or morally, it's like taking advantage of loopholes in the law kind of deal, where it's a possibility to sort of maneuver oneself in a certain way because of secret or hidden selfish desires or intentions. So you want to be careful of that in yourself and just in the environment around this time as well. All right, so that is September 8th. Now, the very next day, September 9th, you're going to see a new moon taking place in Virgo in your 8th house. That's going to be opposed to Neptune in your 2nd house in Pisces. So first and foremost, a new moon in the 8th house can bring a focus to 8th house topics, which would be other people's money, or a partner or spouse's income or resources. The 8th house is also related to the things that we fear. On some levels, people in modern astrology often talk about the 8th house as a place of death and rebirth. In ancient astrology, it was called the Gate of Hades, and indicated the entryway to the underworld, because planets in this position were just about to set and disappear below the horizon, sort of entering the metaphorical underworld. So some theme on transformation, on going into the darker, deeper fears and facing them. Some emphasis on other people's money or resources. Sometimes there is loss or the decline of something in the 8th house. Something isn't working, it's starting to fall apart. You have to face that and own it. It's not always easy in the 8th, but there could be those themes as well. This is really for the whole moon cycle to come, because a new moon plants a seed or sets the tone for the whole moon cycle to come. But this is also happening opposite Neptune in the 2nd house, which is the house of your own finances, your own resources, or your own money or time or values. And so whenever Neptune's in the mix by opposition, you're always wondering about clarity. Am I seeing things clearly? Am I deluding myself? Am I wearing rose-colored glasses? You don't want to get lost in the fog of Neptune right now. Maybe specifically, there is some Neptunian presence surrounding money or financial dealings, maybe specifically within relationships. So you do want to be as discerning as you can. On the other hand, Neptune in Pisces demands that we consider a life lived from the perspective of faith, trust, hope, belief in other worlds, belief in the soul. Neptune is imaginative and calls us to deeper emotional engagement with life. And so this new moon opposite Neptune may also bring in the need for some kind of balance between the rational and very mental and intellectual qualities, and something that's a little bit more imaginative, otherworldly, faith-based. And this could somehow, these energies could also weave their way into what's happening in your life around values, money, finances, business endeavors, relationships, and how they're involved in the very same subjects. So look for those things around September 9th on the new moon, but toning the whole moon cycle to come. Now, from there, you go to September 12th. On September 12th, you're going to see Venus in an opposition with Uranus from your 10th house to your 4th house. Now, this dynamic for everybody, Venus opposite Uranus, can bring up some very sort of archetypally similar themes. Venus, the goddess of love and relationships and beauty and aesthetic and taste and desire, sexuality, sensuality. Opposite Uranus, the rebel, the innovator, the one who seeks independence and freedom, who likes to break the norms or the limitations, who challenges the past in favor of a progressive vision of the future. So these are the qualities that are associated with Uranus. Venus opposite Uranus is known for sexual liberation, disruptions or sudden changes in relationships, defiant or rebellious relational dynamics in general. So everybody's going to be dealing with that potentially around September 12th. But for you, it's also landing Venus in the 10th house of career and Uranus in the 4th house of home and family. So career and home issues in the home front, your property, your land, your family, your parents, family karma, and then issues in the workplace. And maybe simultaneously, these topics are coming into the picture in a more pronounced way. And again, this is around September 12th. Now, remember, next month, Venus is going to turn retrograde in your career house, indicating a significant time of revision, reconsideration, change, challenge in the career area. So that's kind of on the table coming up soon. When you go forward from here to September 18th, the next thing that's happening, I have to just adjust this a bit so that we get Aquarius back in the 1st house. You'll see that on September 18th, the planet Mars in your 1st house of Aquarius is making a square to Uranus in your 4th house of home and family. Excuse my awful drawing. So first of all, Mars was retrograde in your 1st house most of the summer. All Aquarians were getting this in solar horoscopes. So from late June through late August, Mars mostly for that time retrograde in your 1st house. That can mean personal challenges with health. That can mean accidents and injuries. That can mean that you were dealing with anger, working through frustrations, personal limitations, feeling of being disempowered. On the other hand, it can be about a time of personal empowerment where you're learning to be more assertive, or you're learning to face fears, you're learning to put yourself out there more if you tend to be more on the passive side. At any rate, there's been an emphasis on the god of war in your 1st house, which is your most personal house, related to your health, your sense of personality, your direction in life. So you've been going through a lot this summer with Mars retrograde in that house. But it's also been the entire time in a square to Uranus in your 4th house of home, family, and property. And so the things that you've been going through personally, kinds of changes, revisions, or personal challenges that you've been experiencing have also been intimately related to the idea of transformation on the home front. The kind of rebellious, innovative, eccentric qualities of Uranus in the house of home, family, property, land, etc. So this direct movement of Mars may have you poised for a breakthrough. On the other hand, it could also indicate another moment of potential recklessness, or being too eager to make changes too quickly, or to be too assertive or too aggressive in the way that you're addressing things. And again, with some emphasis on change or revolution on the home front. So those energies coming together around September 18th. Then from there, we go forward to the fall equinox, which is taking place September 22nd into the 23rd. This one lands in your 9th house. Now, it is also immediately squaring Saturn in your 12th house. So this means that the equinoxes and solstices all give us insight into the entire season to come. They set the tone for the seasons. We call them cardinal signs for this reason, or tropical signs for this reason. They represent a turning point, and the focus for at least the next 30 days that tones the entire season of autumn for you is going to be focused in your 9th house. foreign travel, long journeys, higher education, philosophical or contemplative life, spiritual or religious matters, and a call to be really thoughtful and reflective about these things. So that's where the emphasis is. But with the Sun and Mercury going through a little square to Saturn in your 12th house, there is maybe some emphasis on solitude, isolation, contemplation, has a kind of monk or hermit feeling to it. It also has to do with loneliness, and it also may have something to do with the feeling of being ostracized, or of feeling very misunderstood on account of the different kinds of beliefs that you have or different kinds of things that you study. It could also pertain to a time where you're being asked to evaluate and reflect very deeply on your beliefs and where they're taking you in life, and what you hold to be true or ethical, and where you want to focus your mind and time and attention. And Saturn in the 12th is going to bring a sense of wanting to focus and spend more time getting absorbed into something and leaving behind what's frivolous. So that is on September 23rd. Finally, on September 24th, you'll see that there is, go all the way around the wheel, come back here. There is a full moon taking place in your 3rd house opposite the Sun in the 9th, and both, again, T-square to Saturn, your personal ruling planet, in the 12th house. So the full moon in the 3rd house is highlighting the house of the mind, communication, siblings, neighbors, and it's opposing Sun and Mercury in the 9th house of the higher education, spirituality, religion. Both houses can be related to travel, short travel or long travel, but both are also square to your ruling planet, Saturn, in the 12th house, which means that it's again, the intellectual life, what you're learning, what you're studying, what you're thinking about, and some Saturnine quality in the 12th house. It's asking you to go a little bit deeper. It's asking you to, it craves alone time or reflective distance from the world, perhaps, or that desires to get away from some level of mental busyness or stress. But the Saturn in the 12th is having you reflect very deeply right now upon different ideas or thoughts, maybe the emphasis on communication and relationships, and looking at where somebody is at relative to where you're at, or what you've known or seen. How can you be a mentor? How can you be a source of wisdom? But also, how does your knowledge and experience set you apart or make you different from others? And how is that maybe tricky when it comes to having friendships or ongoing conversation or communication with others? So these are the kinds of things emphasized in the full moon to end the month. So I hope that this was enjoyable for you. I'd love to hear from my Aquarian friends out there about how the month goes and how these different things kind of shape up in your lives. Last but not least, I'll just point you to my website. So if you're want to check out more of what I do a lot of regular video content, a lot of regular written content throughout the month, exploring mundane transits. You can check out the readings page of my course, the upcoming courses readings page on my website, the upcoming courses that I'm offering, different speakers that I have coming in the fall, and things like that. So, all right, that's what I've got for you. I hope you all you Aquarians out there have a great month, and we'll see you next month.